Hello, welcome everybody. You can see lots of people coming in to join us this evening. It's great to have you here. My name is Lee and I'm one of the team leaders here with Thermomix. It's an absolute pleasure to have you joining us here this evening. You can see a few of you just connecting your videos. If you're able to, do pop your camera on. We love seeing your beautiful faces so that we can interact and chat with you throughout the next hour-ish. Also that while we're together, and if you're catching the recording, hello to you too. It's great that you're able to find some time to kick back and watch us as well. So really excited to have you here this evening. We're all here to talk about using your Varoma. So I would love to hear from you in the chat box. What's your level of confidence using the Varoma? Is it something that you're reaching for and you love using, or is it something that you're not using so much or you've never used? Share with us in the chat box where you're at with your Varoma usage. Would love to hear. And I'm just going to bring up the chat box so I can actually see what everyone's popping in there as well. Love to see. Heather's using it most days. Fantastic, Heather. And we find as consultants that the Varoma is probably the least used accessory of all the accessories that come with your Thermomix. So tonight is a really great opportunity to share some great tips and some tricks and some delicious recipes. We've got a couple of sweet things and some savoury recipes for you tonight. And the team will share what they're cooking when they come on shortly. Rosemary's used it to reheat. And oh, it's so moist. Yes, and Helen's using it occasionally. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. If there's anything that you're especially wanting to know more about with the Varoma, please do use the chat box. We would love to help answer any of your questions this evening too. So the first thing we're going to do is whiz on over to Cynthia's kitchen. So I'm just going to bring her up. She's got two cameras happening in her kitchen tonight. We'll just replace you there.
G'day there. Hi. Welcome. So I've got the lovely job of cooking our dinner tonight, which is a all-in-one chicken dinner. This is one of my favourite things to cook, and we really love this recipe. It makes a really nice amount. There's only two of us in our house, but we have it so that we've got some leftovers for a quick meal sometime, or lunches or something like that. So it's a really great Varoma dish, and uses delayed cooking, which is a really good way to be able to make a larger meal for your family. And so Varoma, I don't know how many of you know what the Varoma is all about, but the Varoma is a mode of cooking which can use, it's found at the top of your temperature dial, and goes to 114 degrees Celsius. You need a minimum of 500 mils of water to be able to, or liquid, to use the steaming function. And you do need to keep an eye on that if you've got a longer cook. So your most recipes that have a longer cook will give you an indication of when you need to check the water level if it's going on for longer than sort of 30 to 45 minutes. So really good to know. So look, we're going to crack on, and I've already done a couple of the steps already. That is just getting the vegetables and the chicken weighed out, because you didn't really need to see that. But what we're going to do is start with the garlic, and we are just going to use a little bit of garlic. It says 1 clove, I never put 1 clove in. And we're going to pop the lid on there. You'll notice my lid's a little bit dirty, but I just made some Italian herb for the spice blend for this recipe, and then I realised I was making the spice blend in the recipe. So we're just reusing the machine. So 2 seconds, speed 9.
And while that's mixing, I'm just going to ask everybody, does anyone know what Varoma actually means? I was a Thermomix owner for about 6 years, and then I found out what Varoma means. Consultants may know if you're on tonight. Let's see if our customers and people who haven't seen a Thermomix know. Varoma.
you saw how big those chunks were, and that's what it's done in a couple of seconds. So it's pretty good. So we're just scraping down the sides, and we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. It says 20 grams. You do not need 20 grams. I find a lot of the recipes use quite a bit of oil, and I just drop that down quite a bit. So I'm just going to use 7 grams of oil. And we're just going to add some paprika and the other spices. So I'll run through what's in there. It's just my boiling water. Onion powder, cracked black pepper, salt, and that's all just gone in there. And speed 3 for 5 seconds.
Love that. We've got some good guesses in the chat box. Ingrid saying it's a combination of 2 words. Yes, you're onto something there. You're very warm, Ingrid. Do you have any ideas of what the 2 words might be? Helen suggested fast steam. When I got my Thermomix, I thought that Varoma must have been like a German word or a French word, because we know that that's where Vorwerk are based and come from. Yes, Heather, ding, ding, ding. Vapor and aroma is Varoma. It's a made-up word by Thermomix. So gold star to you, Heather. Well done.
So I'm just going to add my spice mix to my chicken. So we've just got a rub there, and we're just going to throw that on the chicken. And whatever we don't use out of the bowl, we'll just get mixed in with the steaming liquid that we're going to be using, and that'll just add to the flavour of the gravy later. So I cheat. I don't like getting dirty hands, so I've got gloves on. Also, the paprika gets a little bit stains your hands a little bit, so you can use your spatula if you like, but
give your chuck a good massage there, Cynthia. Well done.
G'day. So now we're just going to add 30 grams of chicken stock, and this is chicken stock that I've made in my Thermomix. So I just keep it in the freezer. It doesn't freeze because of the salt content. We're just going to add about 30 grams of chicken stock in there, and then 800 grams of water. And I've just had my water boiling over here. I'm probably going to have to top it up. So 800 grams.
And did you use your kettle mode to boil that, Cynthia?
I actually didn't, but I could have, yes. So I've just got about 500 grams in here at the moment. We need 800, so I'll just top that up.
Just had a question in the chat box about what you're cooking tonight. So this is the all-in-one chicken dinner, and I am putting all the recipe cookie dough links in the chat box as well. So if you want to tap into the chat, you'll be able to then open up cookie dough and save those, put them into your weekly plan, or save them into your collections as well.
So I'm just going to pop the steaming basket in there, the simmering basket, sorry. And we're going to add, oh, no, we're not. We're going to, do you want me to add the sweet potato now anyway?
Sure, go for it.
It's probably not going to matter. It's just going to hurry the cooking up. So we're just going to weigh in the sweet potato or kumara, and I've got about 600 grams there. 650.
And if you didn't have kumara, you could use pumpkin or potatoes, any of your carb of choice.
So speed 3, 12 minutes at, this is 100 degrees. So we're just going to go a little bit off piste, and we're going to get ahead of ourselves, but that's all right. This recipe is in cookie dough. It's also one of the Skinny Mix's recipes. So this is in her little classic collection, which is of cookie dough. If you scroll down to the bottom of the recipe, it shows you which recipe books the recipes came from, and this is one of her ones. So it's a bit of a variation on the one that's in her book, but it's made for the Cookie Do app and is fully guided there. But you can use the machine, the Thermomix manually as well, and she has Skinny Mixes does a whole lot of books and collections. So, but you do need to use them manually out of the cookbook to use them. With the Cookie Do 3.0, you can't put them in there because it's copyrighted. So you need to be a little bit careful about that and any other recipes that you put in there. But it's still a really good way to use your machine with other recipes, and shows you how you can use it manually. Yeah. Over to you, Lee.
Awesome. Thank you, Cynthia. Look forward to coming back to your kitchen shortly. We're going to whiz on over to Jess's kitchen. Hi, Jess.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Jess. I'm a Thermomix consultant here on the not so sunny Kapiti coast at the moment. And I'm really excited tonight to be showing you how we make a meatloaf in the Thermomix using the Varoma. Now, I've skipped through a couple of the first steps just because it's a little bit noisy when you're trying to get a small child to bed just now. But when we start cooking with this one, we've just greased the Varoma because that's where we're going to be cooking our meatloaf. So just going through the steps, we've popped in some 50 grams of parmesan, 50 grams of onions, a garlic clove or 4, some fresh parsley, and then we've just blended it all up really quickly on a speed of 10 for 10 seconds. So that is now just all perfectly cut up there. So next we're going to be adding, I'll scrape that down, 40 grams of breadcrumbs. Now I'm actually making this gluten-free by using some almond meal that I made the other day when I was needing some for a cooking experience. So nice and easy to do that. I'll just use the leftovers. We've got 400 grams of beef mince broken into pieces. I'll just pop that in now. Give it a bit of a break up as I go through. This needs a wash. Then we've got 2 eggs. Pop those in. Next one is a little bit of pepper. A little bit of salt. Using my little salt pig here. And last but not least, popping the mixing bowl lid on again, and we're just actually going to go into the kneading mode for that. So it's going to mix all those ingredients just for 1 minute. So nice and easy. And it's a great way, it's actually a great way to use if you want to make your own meatballs or beef patties, is to use the dough mode when you're combining all of those ingredients. It just seems to mix it really well without mincing the mince any more than it needs to. I'm not sure if anyone else has used that mode for that, but it is a great way to use it. So it's just got 30 more seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to roll it out and we're going to fill it with spinach and cheese. Now, spinach is really expensive at the moment at my supermarket. So the silver beet that I found was actually $2 cheaper. So I'm definitely going for the cheaper option at the moment. And also for the Gruyere cheese, I didn't want to spend lots of money on a little bit of cheese. So I've just used a little bit of Edam and a little bit of mozzarella from when we made pizzas the other night. There's lots of options. You can just use whatever cheese really suits. And also you could even put, depending on your flavor profile, you could pop in probably a feta as well. You'd probably just leave out the salt, all of that. So here we go. Can't see that. There we go. All nice and mixed up. The perfect consistency for mince. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll that out in just a minute, and I'm going to start the next part of my recipe. Before I do the cook. So I've just got a new bowl and I'll show you how I've spread that out. But just to keep us moving. Alrighty, so we're going to pop in a little bit of oil. So just 20 grams. So this is making the sauce / the liquid that we're going to use for the Varoma cooking. So just pop in 20 grams of oil in. 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. Well, come on. How many do we put in, Lee? At least 4.
Oh, I already put in the chat box. You measured that with your heart, Jess.
4.
That's
And
your heart.
as you can see, this is my garlic that I've just got sitting in olive oil in the fridge. I used my peeler the other day with all my garlic. No mess, super easy. A great way to get your garlic in. So along with my money saving tips, it asks for yellow capsicums. They were like $2 more expensive as well, so green it is. And also I didn't quite have the 450 grams, so I just popped in a bit of celery too, just to even that one out. All right, some basil leaves. Again, I wasn't going to buy a whole lot of basil, and my basil was looking a little bit sad in the background, so I'm just going to use a little bit of dried basil. It says 4 to 5 basil leaves. Again, I cook with the heart, as Lee says. It's a really nice way to do it. And then I'm going to pop the lid on and give it a bit of a blitz up, 4 seconds on speed 5. And this blitzed it up perfectly. You can see that.
What a
there.
colour. That looks cool.
I know, it's so easy. And so that's the base for our sauce. And all I'm going to do now is pop on my simmering basket, and that's going to cook for 3 minutes at 120 degrees. And I'm going to layer out my meat loaf and do a little bit of a roll, and I'll see you shortly.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. Looking forward to that. Right, we're going to whiz on over to Gemma's kitchen. So I'll just bring up spotlights. Gemma's got 2 cameras in her kitchen, so I'll just add that in as well. If you're on a mobile phone, you may need to just swipe across so that you're in the gallery view, and then you'll be able to see Gemma's Thermomix as well. The what am I trying to say? The display on your machine.
The screen.
Yeah, words were just missing from my mouth. Thanks, Gemma. Over to you.
All right. Hello, how are we? I am going to be making some mini carrot cakes tonight. Yeah, so I'm going to get straight into it. I've already pre-greased my little muffin tray. Yeah, so we'll get started. We've got 80 grams of butter. I'm going to go in with that. Oh, it wants to come out. There we go.
Every great recipe starts with 80 grams of butter, doesn't it, Gemma?
Right, and then 80 grams of sugar.
Love it.
Go in with that. 2 medium eggs. My eggs were actually quite big, so I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but we're going in with the 2 eggs. This one, I love this recipe because it's one of those ones where you can just throw it all in and it does it and then it's ready type thing. So we're just going to put the lid on and we're going to mix that one for 1 minute, and it's actually going to heat at 37 degrees to, what's the word? Pasteurize your eggs. Is that the right word, Lee?
Yeah, almost. Yep.
Yeah. So easy, speed 4, mixing all of that together, creaming the butter and the sugar together. And then generally what I'm doing at this time is I'm probably getting my next ingredients ready, but I've already got those ready. But a minute isn't a long time anyway, so do what you have to do really in that minute. Yes, that's fine. Oh, a little bit longer. Sorry, my daughter's just making my other daughter a bottle. Sorry.
That's all right. No worries. It's that time of the night. One of the cool things
Mum life, right? Mum life.
You can work this business around your family. It's all good.
Yeah.
Real life. No need for apologies, Gemma.
What?
Oh, we're not allowed that here.
No, look at this. Has it got stuff on them?
It's not in this. Come out as well.
Got someone else in there.
It's getting tired, eh?
Yeah.
Well, sitting on my yawning.
Try it.
All righty. Next step. We are going in with 100 grams of
That's
carrot.
it.
You don't need to cut them thin. or grate them or anything like you
Right.
do with
That may
your
run one to let the chicken
carrot
nuggets.
So I think it's roughly 100 grams. There we go.
Oh, 97. Team close enough, Gemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any plain flour, so I'm using the flour that I had, which is high grade flour, which I've always got high grade flour in my cupboard. Should be about 100. Oops. Missed a little bit there. Look at that. Teaspoon of baking powder. This recipe is super quick and really yummy as well. It calls for some ingredients that I'm going to be skipping tonight just because we are a nut-free house here and my kids won't eat raisins. So I want my kids to eat these. So I'm opting to not add those ingredients tonight. Cinnamon, we've got.
And that's the great thing about cookie dough. It's just a starting guide. Like, make it your own, hey?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the recipes that I make, you know, some of them call for nuts, and again, we are a nut-free house, so I opt for either something else or just leave it out, which is so good. You can, it's just a guide. You don't actually have to do what the recipe says. You can add what you like. If I didn't want nutmeg, I would add something else or just skip it. So easy peasy. Now it's going to mix up all that carrot. You saw that I had the chunks in there. It's my favorite part. 3 seconds, speed 5. As easy as that. Scraping down the sides. Let's give it a little bit of a scrape too.
What was it, 20 seconds?
3 seconds.
Oh, 3 seconds. Holy heck.
I know, right? 3 seconds. And I'll show you how it looks once I've scraped down the sides. Pretty good for a 3-second whiz. So this is where it's asking me for the walnuts. We're skipping that because I'm not having that. Raisins, again, I want my kids to eat it, so no raisins. So it wants us to, it's just going to do a quick mix again. So this is on the reverse blade as well, so it's not actually going to be chopping those carrots again. 3 seconds, speed 3. Now we're going to divide the mixture into my prepared muffin tray.
Gemma, would your kids eat dates at all if they're not big raisin fans?
Oh yeah, they probably would actually. So I could have added the dates in with the carrot.
Yeah.
So it could have.
You could also omit some of the sugar and then use it as a bit of a natural sweetening agent as well.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
know for a lot of my baking, my kids are not big raisin fans either, and I'll substitute it with dates.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think of that. That's such a good idea.
And Kathy's suggesting dried cranberries as an alternative too. So yeah, lots of great tips.
Oh yeah, that would be yummy.
Has anyone here tonight got any other ideas for raisin substitutes? Pop it in the chat. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, definitely. The more the merrier, right? More ideas to have.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's scrape all of that out. Awesome. So smells really good. I wish you could have smell-o-vision so that you could smell it. It smells really yummy. So I've just popped that in there, nothing fancy or anything. Pop it in there. We'll go to the next. So it's asking us to cover with some Glad wrap. I actually had to read the other night if my Glad wrap was heat resistant. I've never really thought about that, to be honest. Gonna do a little bit.
And if you didn't have Glad wrap, baking paper is also quite good to use instead.
Yeah, you could, would you suggest wetting it first, or no? Would you just put the baking paper over top?
Yep, I'd give it a good scrunch and then run it under the tap and then lay it out. We've just had some other suggestions in the chat there too for you, Gemma. So dried apricots, sunflower seeds instead of the walnuts. Crystallized ginger was also another suggestion there. That'd be nice with the carrot
Oh,
cake.
I like that one with the carrot cake. Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful.
be so good. Yum. Right, so now it's asking me to clean my mixing bowl, which I have to do because I don't have a second bowl yet. So give me 1 minute.
All good. While you're doing that, I'll just address a couple of the questions. So Ingrid's asking about the reverse function. Ingrid, if you're in a guided cooking do recipe, the automatic functions will come up for you. So we'll already go into that reverse mode. If you're wanting to find reverse manually, I'll just bring me up on the camera here. If you're wanting to use the reverse manually, just at the bottom of the speed dial, there's a little picture of the blades. And if I move my head, oh, where are we? Pointing here. Can you see at the bottom of there? There is a little icon that you can just tap on and that will go into your reverse mode on the TM6 as well. And I can see Cynthia's answered that in the chat box at the same time. So yeah, love it. If you can't find any of these recipes in your cookie do tonight, when I open up cookie do in a screen share shortly, I'm going to talk about filters and how to best utilize the search functions as well. So stand by on that one. Got a few messages coming through. Back to you, Gemma.
All good, cool. So we're going to go next and we're going to do 500 grams of water. No, just a little bit over, that's all right, because it's just going to be steaming. Then we're going to put our lid on.
In the back of the bowl, there's actually some markings as well. So there's a little dot, and that is 500 mils or 500 grams. So you could just put your jug under your tap and fill it rather than measuring it out as well. It's got 500 mils, a litre, 1.5, 2, and then the maximum of 2.2. So that's another speedy tip for you.
So this only takes 30 minutes on the Varoma temperature, and it is on speed 1. Through the magic of television, though, I have actually prepared some earlier, and these ones actually have raisins in them. So these are going to be for the adults, and I've iced them with some nice cream cheese frosting. Look at that. Yum.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
easy. That's dessert. 30 minutes, 35 minutes maybe to get all the ingredients in and done together.
I love it. And you've done well to keep your family away from them to show us all tonight. So I know how hard that can be when you've been cooking delicious things. Top job. Thanks, Gemma. Well done.
You're welcome.
On over to Jess's kitchen. Yeah, pleasure. We'll just whiz on back. I think she's got next steps with her sauce.
Okay, thanks for coming back. So I've made my little loaf here. I must say I need some practice, but that's okay. It's very rustic looking. But for my sauce now, I'm just going to add a 400 gram tin of chopped tomatoes, or 400 grams of tomatoes cut into pieces, but we know how expensive those are. So I much prefer a $1.20 can that was on sale at my local supermarket. So I'll just pop those in. And then we're also going to add in 200 grams of water. Now, just to get the rest of the tomato sauce out, I'm just going to give it a bit of a swirl and add in the rest of my water that way. So that is all done there. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and also just a touch of sugar. So they just say a pinch of sugar, and that does help with the tomato sauce when you make it. So I've just got a little pinch there, and add in my little bit of pepper. And now we're going to pop the Varoma into position. So this is where you just have the lid on top without the measuring cup in, so it's out. And then we just literally place the Varoma on top here with our steaming lid. If you wanted to at this point as well, you can actually use your steaming basket and pop it in like Cynthia did, and you can cook vegetables as a side. But as we're having this for dinner tomorrow night, I'm going to do those tomorrow because I want them nice and crispy and crunchy. But yeah, and now this is just going to cook for 40 minutes on the Varoma, and we're good to go.
Thanks, Jess. Can't wait to see. I've never done a meatloaf in the Varoma, so I'm keen to see.
I've actually never made a meatloaf. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Mm.
I'm a bit traumatized by meatloaf. My auntie used to make it as a young child in the 80s, and it was awful. It was so dry and tasteless, and it had like dried out bacon around it. So yeah, maybe that's why I need to do it in the Varoma, so it's nice and moist. I think, yeah, I'm hopeful for this one. Yeah, it'll be good. Awesome, thank you. We're going to whiz on over to Kathy's kitchen.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm a Thermomix here in Papamoa. Again, not so sunny here at the moment, but yuck, but that's okay. So today I'm going to be cooking some flourless chocolate puddings. I have to admit, I did try these the other day because I hadn't made them before, and they did not last the night. Hubby and I finished them off after giving the kids one each. So I have a feeling it's going to be the same again tonight because they were delicious. So we're just going to start cooking, and to start with, we're just going to be greasing I've already done it, greasing our little ramekins, which I'm again just using what I have. So I've got some of these ones that you can be using for spice jars or yogurt, and I've also got a couple of bigger ones as well. So they all fit very nicely into my Varoma. So that's already done, and I'm going to insert my butterfly whisk, lock it into place, and I'm going to put in my cream. It's just 200 grams of cream into there. And we're going to be whipping that up. So as it often says when you're whipping cream, leave your measuring cup off. It's not going to give you a time because you're just going to be watching it to make sure that you don't over whip. So I'm just going to turn it to speed 3, and it's going to only be about 45 seconds because it does not take long to whip. You also hear maybe the sound change. We're going from a slushy sound to a little bit thicker as it starts to condense down and be a bit more of a whipped cream, which is also really handy.
And I think it's a rite of passage. Every when you're making whipped cream, that you'll make butter at least once.
Yes. Although I was watching somebody's story, I think it was Darsh's story about making butter. I'm like, oh, actually, I think I need to do that because that looks really interesting. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, I did it in a cooking class. Somebody asked a question and I looked up to answer the question, and I looked back about 2 seconds and it was butter.
It's
really
just getting thicker now, so it's at 45 seconds and it's just starting to, we can just hear it. It's no longer slushy, it's gotten thicker. And a little trick, you can just tap on your button to stop the machine. You don't have to turn the dial all the way back. You can just push on the your turn dial, and that'll just stop the blades going too. And now we have cream, nice whipped cream. So that was
give it a clap. That's no mean feat. Well done, Kathy.
Good. So now we're going to remove our butterfly whisk, and we're going to put it in a bowl and pop it in the fridge for later. Pop that in here. I do love this spatula. It is my absolute favourite at the moment. So it just gets all those extra little bits around the bottom of the blade. Just with it being a little bit thinner, it's perfect for getting around the blade. So if you're ever on the mix shop, definitely get one. It's great for dough and everything in between. Okay. So now I don't need to clean the bowl. Love that. And we're going to be popping in 100 grams of butter. It says softened as well, so I've had mine sitting out for a little while just to make it nice and soft. And we're going to be popping in 100 grams of dark chocolate. Just use any dark chocolate you like. You're going to have the lid on, measuring cup. And we're going to be melting that at 60 degrees on speed 1 for 5 minutes. So it's just going to melt the chocolate down. That's it done for now.
Awesome. How many minutes have you got on that one there, Kathy?
5 minutes.
Awesome. We might just quickly whiz back to Jess. I've got a couple of messages asking around the meatloaf. I'll just come back to you, Jess, real quick. Replacing the spotlight there. So a few questions just around the technique to wrap your meatloaf, and was it still in the baking paper? We kind of missed those steps.
Oh, right. Yes, sorry. So it's actually, I did use baking paper, and I had wet the baking paper just a little bit as well, just to prevent it sticking. But I used my small mix shop tray as well. So I laid that out because they do say in the recipe to have like a 20 by 10 area to pop the meat in, and I just spread it out, and then I just popped the cheese and the spinach in. And the first roll was not successful. Like sushi, it takes a little bit of practice. And then the next time I spread all the ingredients out really thinly. And I literally just used the paper to pull it over towards me and then push down and wrap it quite tightly. So it won't be a beautiful roll like in the photo, but I'm sure it will taste delicious.
Yeah, very good. Can you give us a sneak peek inside your Varoma? It will just show us how it's looking sitting in there now. So it's got no paper on it at all, has it? You just transfer it in. Yeah, awesome.
It's actually already starting to cook around the bottom there.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome, thank
And
you.
the tomato sauce smells amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jess. I think that helps us clarify some of those steps that were not seen on camera. Yeah, if ever you do have questions, do throw them in the chat box so that we can help you for any clarity around those. All righty, I think Cynthia's still doing her chicken. We'll come back to, I know Kathy's got a few minutes. So what I might do is just share some top tips with you all now while we've got a few cook times going. If you are a Thermomix owner, have you read your basic cookbook? Inside this little treasure is some really fabulous information around using your Varoma. And it does have some really great things on page, where are we, 172 in here. It's all around multi-level cooking. It talks about how using the Varoma is a really great way to you know, obviously steam, but keep the nutrients in your food, and you're not overcooking. You know, who's got memories of that, you know, boiled cabbage that's, you know, grey and lifeless, and, you know, you're going to get beautifully steamed, still a bit of crunch in your vegetables. Your proteins are not going to be dried out. They're just moist and delicious. So have a good read through those couple of pages there around multi-level cooking. And then also in the back of the book, there's another little section here on page 317, and it has all of the quantities and various things that you can be steaming. So if you're wanting to use your machine manually, then refer to that, because it tells you if you want to be, you know, steaming some zucchinis, or you want to be doing some apples, or, you know, whatever it is that you're wanting to steam, the amount of time and what it is that you're needing to do. So yeah, even steaming fruit, there's lots of great info in there as well. And our wonderful Asian team always say, never waste your steam. So if you're cooking something and it's producing some steam from the bowl, pop your Varoma or the steaming tray on and use that. You know, you don't need to have lots of different appliances going, or the microwave and pots on the stove. You can actually just use that steam, which is a really great way to be you know, energy efficient as well. You've got the one appliance going, pop some veggies in. I've got a couple of things here that I especially love, so I'm going to share with you here. I've got the tray, and that sits in the Varoma dish, and it's great for catching any drips. So if I had something like some fish steaming above my pumpkin soup, and I didn't especially want the liquids going down into my bowl, I would pop that in. Or like we've mentioned, you can also use the damp baking paper. That works really well, and just line that in. It'll catch any of the liquids. And then the other one I've got here, oh, I've just put it in a safe place, can't find it again, is the trivet. Where are we? So I'll go that way. Oh, move my head. This is confusing. So that's the little trivet here. And that just sits in the base of your Varoma dish, and it's great for elevating. So if you've got something like a whole chicken, or you've got some fillets of fish, you want to be able to elevate it off to allow that steam to come through. So that's a really great one, and they're both available in the mix shop. So I especially love those. And then one of the other things I love is the white thermo server, and this one is designed especially for your Varoma dish. Does anyone know what we use it for? The little white one, pop it in the chat box. You can obviously use it for keeping things warm for up to 2 hours and cold for up to an hour, but it's also really great for, yes, Alex has got it, ding, ding, ding in the chat there, making yogurt. So you can use your fermenting mode. That just sits in there over the course of about 8 hours, and will create all your beautiful, delicious, creamy, thick yogurts in there. So a few things that I especially love using, and I know the team are going to be sharing some of their favourite things and other items especially for use in the Varoma. I'll bring up some links and share on screen what you can be doing in the mix shop as well. So I can see Kathy has just finished this. That was good timing. Top job, Kathy. Just replace the spotlight. Yes. Yeah, you bet.
It's hard to see, but all the chocolate and butter has melted together now. So it's just on 60 degrees. So I'm just going to tip that into a bowl now. It says to set it aside. Nice and silky. Just found whatever dark chocolate I had. And I love that it doesn't give you, well, it doesn't always. Sometimes it has a specific cocoa content depending on what you're making, but this one just said dark chocolate, so just found whatever dark chocolate I had. Okay, now I am going to have to clean my bowl, so you're going to have to give me a second to clean my bowl.
Yeah, all good. While you're cleaning your bowl, I'll do a quick screen share and just bring up the mix shop there. Hang on one second. I've got 2 screens going, so this is an interesting opportunity for me tonight, just to make sure I'm bringing up the right thing. Screen share. That one there. Gemma, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see the mix shop on screen here? Awesome. Thanks, Jess. So if you go into the mix shop, so thermomix.co.nz or the mixshop.co.nz, if you type Varoma just into the search bar like I have here, you'll see those items that I mentioned. So you've got that steaming tray here, you've got the trivet. There's also some really handy baking paper sheets that are cut to the exact measurements of the tray and the dish. Some of them have little holes in, so they'll let the steam through as well. And then the little silicone mold, so they're really great if you're doing all your muffins and your baking and things as well. So the various sizes for that one there is for the tray, and then that one is there for the bowl, the Varoma dish, and the Varoma tray. So many things. So they're in there, and then also on the next page there is the wonderful rose gold pudding steamer. Oh, hang on, we've just gone too far there. Rose gold pudding steamer here, especially as we're coming into winter. If you like the idea of those beautiful, fruit puddings or sticky toffee puddings, all those sorts of things, you could be doing those with the steaming pot here. So it's made especially to fit in there. And anytime you go shopping in the mix shop, do pop down your consultant's name, because they will get a little commission on any of those sales as well. So we love seeing what you're purchasing. We might reach out to you with some inspiration or see what you're making, and thank you for your order as well. Lorraine's just asking if you can use other silicone muffin molds. Yeah, you absolutely could. Just be mindful of the size, that they do fit in correctly as well, and the quality of your silicone. Not all silicone is made well, so you can get plastics and leaching and things like that. So just check the grade of your silicone. So we might just whiz back over to Cynthia really quick. I can see she's ready. Oh, here's Kathy.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Okay. Just had to get all under the blaze, so I know I'm about to be milling sugar, so I wanted to make sure it's absolutely dry. So we've got 60 grams of granulated sugar that's going in. And I'm going to be popping on the lid. And a measuring cup. And now it's going to mill on speed 10 for 20 seconds. As you can see, got a nice sugar powder. And all of our sugar is now turned to icing sugar. So it's asking us to scrape down the bowl. I'm just going to get all those lovely bits down. There's so many things you can do with that milling function. It's so powerful. It's just amazing. And now we're adding 2 medium eggs. And 2 egg yolks as well. And we're going to put the lid back on. And we're just going to mix on speed 3 for 5 seconds. Yeah, it says to scrape down the bowl, but when I found the other day when I did it, you don't really need to because it already just is all down the bottom anyway. So it's quite handy. Might just need a little bit of a mix around. That. And now we're going to add back in our butterfly whisk. So it's going to whisk up all those eggs and that sugar together. So put the lid back on. And then it's going to heat it to 37 degrees for 8 minutes on speed 4. So it's going to really whip it up. So I guess I'll see you guys again soon. We're going to start this.
Fantastic. I think the next step is putting it into your ramekins, and then if you start your steaming.
Oh no, I'm going to mix in the chocolate.
Oh, and you can't. Yeah, you gotta have, yes. Yep.
Yeah, fold the chocolate in and then pop it into the ramekins. Yeah.
Fantastic. You can't have flourless chocolate muffins without chocolate. Yeah. Good point there, Kathy. Awesome. Thank you. Right, back to Cynthia.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. So I have got my bowl here. I've just actually taken out my chicken and my vegetables, which you didn't see on my tray. So I've got some mixed frozen winter veggies and some carrot there and the chicken. So it's quite a big oval thermal server, keeping it hot. And it's pretty full. So it's a good sized family meal, that one. So we're just going to carry on, and this recipe calls for removing the vegetables, and then we're going to use our spatula, really cool thing. It's got a little slot there for being able to hook out your simmering basket without getting your fingers burned. So I'm just going to use my lid as a cover. And we're going to transfer the cooking liquid. So there's quite a bit there. So we're just going to transfer that to a jug. And there's quite a lot there. So we are then going to pop a small bowl. I've measured out my corn flour and mixed my water in already. So about 2 tablespoons, I think it was, 25 grams of 1 tablespoon. So gluten-free corn flour and 60 grams of water. So I've done that here and stirred it to combine. And we're going to place 500 grams of our lovely reserve cooking liquid. So I've got my scales here, and I'm just going to
You can see how much flavour and all the juices have gone into that. What a great colour there, Cynthia.
So I don't know about anybody else, but you can use it for soups and all that sort of stuff. It's full of beautiful chicken flavour and things like that. So and now we're just going to add in our corn flour mixture. I'll just make sure it's all nicely mixed up. So it's just going to go in there. And then without the measuring cup, that's going to cook away for 5 minutes at 100 degrees speed too. So yeah, that's just going to cook away and thicken up. So with the lid off, it means the steam's going to escape. So it's going to just let it cook down a little bit and thicken up nicely. So be a nice tasty gravy. So one of my mix shop items that I really like is the thermal jug, which keeps gravies and things like that nice and hot. And a couple of the other items I have are these Varoma muffin trays. So they fit in the Varoma. So this one fits on the top shelf and this one fits on the bottom shelf quite nicely, and really handy for doing steaming muffins and things like that. All those yummy things that Gemma and Kathy have been making are really good for those. And the other item I have is my beautiful bread knife, which adjusts in, you can adjust the width of your loaf, which we will be using to do our bread a little bit later. So you'll watch me making that shortly. Yeah, over to you, Lee.
Brilliant, thank you. I am going to bring up a screen share and just open up my cookie dough. So bear with me one sec. I know we had some questions coming through around cookie dough. Jess, can you give me a thumbs up? We're on screen. Awesome, thank you. I always like to check because many times I've just been talking and you can't see anything. So cookie dough, when you first get a Thermomix, the default for your cookie dough account is Australia. And so you're only going to be finding recipes in Australia. So I really encourage you to either open up your app or your desktop and come over into your settings here, go into your profile and then go down to your default settings. So you can scroll down here and update your filters. Click English, and if you're fortunate enough to have another language, you could absolutely tick that as well. And then you want to untick Australia. So I just leave all the countries unticked and I'm searching worldwide in English. And it just means that I've got a bigger catchment. Save that in your settings. And then every time you're coming over and searching in your cookie dough, you're going to have more success. So if you haven't been able to find any of the recipes tonight, that may be why. So look in your filters. If you're manually checking, I'll show you how you can use your filters as well. So over here, when you're exploring and you're wanting to find something, you can use your little magnifying glass, and you can do this on the desktop and on your app, and then use your filters here. So just come over, click that little grey button on filters, and then go down to your countries, and then just check that everything is unticked in your countries there. So it'll just give you a wider search. Now in cookie dough itself, there's a few ways that you can find inspiration and ideas using the Varoma. We can just type in Varoma straight there in the search bar under recipes. It's given me 770 recipes using the Varoma. You've got sweets, you've got dinners, you know, there's all sorts. There's some fabulous recipes in here. You know, breads, baking, you name it, even a Varoma pizza, who knew? A really great way to be steaming all your doughs. So lots of inspiration and ideas. If you find a recipe that you're really quite keen and curious on, you could click onto that recipe, and then from here you could add it into a collection. So you can create your own little collections, and you might want to just create one that says Varoma. You could just, pop it in there. And then when you're feeling like you want to use your Varoma or get some inspiration, come back over to your recipes folders over here. And I think I probably already do have a created folder for Varoma. Down here, it's all alphabetical. So I'll just scroll down. Yeah, there's my Varoma recipe that I just created in a collection tonight. And I already had some in there. So there's a few of my favorites that my family do. Absolutely love the whole steamed chicken. I'll quite often just put that in there and then use it for sandwiches and things. There's the layered chicken dinner as well. So yeah, you can put all your recipes in there. One of the other things that you can also be doing, rather than looking for individual recipes when you're using your search function, is go into the little drop down here and go to collections, and same thing, just type in Varoma and some collections will come up, and that's going to give you an idea of different ways to be finding recipes. And this will go worldwide, and you'll see here that there's lots of beautiful international recipes here, still in English. They will find recipes in collections in other languages, so you can't actually use a language filter on collections. But one of the really cool things as well is that you could click into a recipe. So I've got one here, you could click into it, and then you could use your Google Translate if you're using a desktop here. So it's a great way to get inspiration, new ideas, and other things that you may not have considered if you're just searching in English there. So you can use that. And then put them into your weekly menu. So if I just find a recipe, you might just have a look. Varoma Entertaining Made Easy, that looks good. If you wanted to, you could save that entire collection as well, and then have that as a quick way to come back and search. You could come over here, find your recipe, pop it into your weekly menu. So you might want to make that terrine. You could put that into your weekly plan. You might make that in the weekend, whenever it is that you're wanting to do it, and then also add it into your shopping list. And then clicking into your week, you'll be able to find anything that you have put ahead. Go into your little weekly view, and anything that you've put in there. I think I popped it in for Sunday. There it is there. There's the terrine, and then the recipes will be there in your shopping list. So yeah, are there any questions while I've got cookie dough up on the screen there that I can help with tonight? Pop it in the chat box, let me know. Love to be able to help you with that, but hopefully by looking with your filters and using those keywords, then it's a great way to do it. One of the other things you can also do when you're finding a recipe that's using the Varoma, or any recipes for that matter, if I just go back in and have a look using a Varoma recipe, you can edit it. So you might find a recipe that you like the look of. We've got one here, where are we? Varoma pizza. You can edit an existing cookie dough recipe as well. So from here you could go add, pop it into your created recipes, and then make it your own. If you know that you especially love 3 times as much garlic, or you like less chili, or whatever the recipe calls for, you can use those little editing pens there and make it your own. You can also play around with the portions. So some recipes have set portions in here, or you could manually change them out as well. So you can make it your own. Pop your own photo in there and be a little bit creative. And if you're creating your own recipes, that's another thing that you can do. If you like being creative and making your own, you can use that little created recipe folder again. Come over to created recipes. Oh, go back one. Go here, created recipes. And then where's my little pen? Oh, I need to move that box. There we go. Down here, the little plus sign, and you could start creating your own recipe and pop that in. And it's just as simple as following your nose. We do have a cookie dough 3.0 virtual class coming up on the 25th of July. So I'll pop the details for that in the chat box. And so jump on, and the consultants and the team will be doing a bit of a deep dive around editing existing recipes and putting your own in. So it's another great layer of learning. And just to get more tips and tricks in there. And we've also got the recipe community, so recipecommunity.com.au, and you can be finding recipes that other people have been creating and put them into your cookie dough and make them step by step with your TM6 as well. So it's a great way to find something that might not be in cookie dough. I hope that's been helpful. Back to you, Cynthia.
Hi, so while you've been gone, my gravy has cooked and I've just popped it into my jug. You can see it there. And so that will stay hot on there while we finish our cook, and we are just going to carry on and do our kumara mash. So adding some butter, just a little bit of butter. And I'm not going to put the cream in. It says cream, it's optional. Salt and the reserved kumara. So just it escaped. It's usually pretty good at just flopping out. And then we're going to just pop the lid on. And whip it for, or was it for 10 seconds at speed 5. So with this recipe, you can whip it up with your butterfly whisk as well for 20 seconds. I don't tend to do that, but because I find it mashes it enough with how it is already, but we will just have a look and see what it looks like. So you can see it's pretty smooth there already. If you want to whip it up, you can. Lee, do you want me to whisk it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we are just going to insert the butterfly whisk to the left of the highest blade, and I'll just show you where that is. So you just try and clear your blades a little bit so you can see where your blade, your highest blade is, which is this one here. So we're just going to pop that whisk on to the left of that and pop it down there. And then we are going to pop the lid on and whip it for 20 seconds, speed 3. And then that recipe is all good to go. So there you go, it's whipped it up quite nicely there. So we'll pop the lid on there. And do you want me to whip straight into the bread, Lee, or?
Yes, please. That would be wonderful.
So you can get a 20% discount voucher when you have your host reward for doing your delivery cooking experience, and you can use that to get your second bowl, which is a great offer, and it makes switching between recipes really easy. And we are just going to get started with our artisan bread. This is not a quick recipe, just for the record, but it is a really great one for the winter when it's hard to rise dough. So this one is using 2.5 teaspoons of dried yeast, which I've got here, and 370 grams of water. $371, that's pretty close. And that is just going to activate our yeast 3 minutes at 37 degrees, speed 1. Did you want to talk about anything else, Lee, while we're waiting for that to happen? Oh, you're on mute.
It was. It happens at least once every cooking demo, doesn't it? Stay on mute. Thank you, Cynthia. I love you got my back there. I was just going to say, we'll whiz on over. I can see Kathy and Jess are just kind of finishing off a few things in their kitchen. We'll come over. Gemma, did you have a few mix shop things that you'd like to share with everyone some favorites from your household?
I do. I have got, this is probably the most used in our house, and it is the pizza tray. We have pizza quite often here, and it's quite good. I've actually got 2 of these because it makes it easy to swap it in the oven. So that would probably be my top one. And then the other one is what's this one? The large muffin tray. So this one I find particularly helpful for making like individual portions of like puddings. So like sticky date, we love a good sticky date in this house. So this makes a really good serving size for one person to have, and then I just freeze it. So they are my 2 things, and they're both in the rose gold. Very nice. And I've also just got my mini carrot cakes. I have just taken them out. They're upside down, but freshly baked in the Thermomix Varoma.
Fantastic. One of the things I especially love about doing muffins with the Varoma is how moist they are and how easy it is to do for lunch boxes. So nice and fresh. I'll just whip up the mixture first thing in the morning and then have them on steaming while I'm in the shower and kind of getting ready for the day ahead. So
yeah, and then
there's
they've got a fresh muffin in their lunchbox. It's amazing.
Yeah, and a huge cost saver, hey, because you know, 6 muffins at the supermarket, they're not cheap these days.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Really inexpensive and a great way to get some of those additives and preservatives out, lovely and fresh. So
yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And I've popped the link there for the rose gold pizza tray in the chat. So if anyone is curious and wanting to make some pizzas. Top tip with your rose gold, folks, avoid using dishwashing liquid. So just water or give it a wipe with your paper towel. The dishwashing liquid over time will break down that non-stick coating. So just to look after it, the best is just to wipe it out. And because it's non-stick, like pizzas just slide off, muffins out, you don't need to be getting in there with abrasive cleaners. Look after your rose gold and it will last. I've had mine for years and it's still beautiful.
Yeah, I just use hot
me with a dishwash. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Gemma. Great job
you.
there. Jess, how are you doing? I think she's almost.
I'm doing good. I've got a couple of minutes, but I thought I would share a couple of my faves. When I first got my measuring spoons, because I saw them, these are like my favorite. I love these measuring spoons. But as you can see, I've got a bit of a haul beside me. Best underrated, cheapest item is definitely my little dough scraper. This is used, it's just essential for everything. In fact, I could use it for tonight when I smoothed out the mince. It's just brilliant, but lots of dough stuff. I also love these little reusable silicone like cupcake or muffin liners. These have been a lifesaver with a little boy who started school. I make muffins and I just use these, whip them out, throw them in the freezer, and the muffins I just get out one every day. So these have been great. And I love these little bowls. These are super handy, a great size for desserts. Otherwise, I am good at having a big bowl of ice cream rather than a small bowl. This does help limit those. And then I was going to talk a little bit about the items that you can get when you get host rewards. So when you host CE with you and 2 others, including someone new, you can then choose from a host reward. Now, you've got the option of these amazing thermo servers, which are the double-walled stainless steel bowls, and either you've seen the yogurt one tonight with Lee, we've got round 2.6 litre ones, and we've also got the oval ones that Cynthia has used. And also, to go along with my super cheap scraper is the mat, so you can get the mat combo. So fantastic options for host rewards. So really recommend jumping on and hosting a CE, you and a couple of friends, and especially that delivery demo. It does make a huge difference just having a setup and get yourself some cool stuff. Also, I've got my little rose gold trays here that I use constantly for all sorts. So Yeah, can't go wrong with mix shot really. But I'm actually just, last 10 seconds. Oh, and I love a good
Yeah.
bowl brush. They do look like a toilet brush though, let's be honest, but they are so good for cleaning your bowls and the so yeah, my favorite. So for me, I'm just finishing now my meatloaf. And I'm just
I'll leave you just to get your meatloaf out for a sec. I'm just going to whiz back to Cynthia so she can pop her dough in. So I'll come back to you in 2 seconds. One. There we go. Back to you, Cynthia.
I love it, Jess. I never thought of the toilet brush, but yeah, you're right.
We've all thought it.
Here is my activated yeast, and the bowl's lovely and warm. I've just been hugging it. So I've just got our bread flour here. So that's just the high grade in New Zealand. And I'm just going to measure 595 grams of flour out. Make sure that I get it all in the bowl. It's quite a lot. It makes quite a big loaf, this. Okay. And one of my favourite items is the sweeper brush. And truth form, I have managed to get flour everywhere. So we'll get that out. I just love that brush. 2 teaspoons of salt. I've just got that in there. And a teaspoon of rustic bread spice. So I made this ages ago and I just keep it in a jar. I wish you were here. It smells amazing. And I've just got the spice recipe up on my other machine, so I can just tell you a little bit about what's in it. So the whole recipe makes about half jar. It's got an ounce of caraway seeds, an ounce of coriander seeds, half an ounce of cumin seeds or black cumin seeds, half an ounce of fennel seeds, 1.5 teaspoons of anise seeds, and 1.5 teaspoons of black peppercorns. And you literally just chuck everything in and grind it for 15 seconds at speed 10, and then store it in an airtight container, which is here. And I chuck it in quite a few different bread recipes just because it's got a really nice sort of rustic loaf flavour to it. So this is just going to knead for 3 seconds now. And it tells me, meanwhile, lightly grease my Varoma, which I've done already. I've also done the lid because once this is finished, it's going to, the dough is going to go directly into here for 2 hours on the fermentation mode. And then after 2 hours, it's going to go into here and rest for 50 minutes, and then it's going to go into the oven at 200 degrees for about half an hour or so, covered, and then for about 15 minutes after that. So it's quite a long recipe, as I said. It also asks for a vinegar and water wash. I usually generally skip that and just go straight to the fermentation mode, which I will probably show you, Lee, towards the end. Are you coming back to me to watch this? Or are we just going to can out from there?
Yep. No, we can come back to you once you've done your kneading. I think we've just had a question around the spice mix. It's the rustic spice mix for bread, and I've popped that link in the chat. So if anyone's wanting to make that. Gemma's inspired and she's thinking about giving it a go tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Right, I think we'll back on over to Jess's kitchen real quick. I can see she's got her Varoma off.
All right, yes, I do. Thanks, Lee. So this was my meatloaf, and I've actually just cut some of it up so you can see it a little bit better. But what I did after the meatloaf finished cooking was I just blended up the sauce for 1 minute on a speed of 8. So we've got a beautiful tomato and what else did I put in there? A bit of capsicum and celery sauce. But you can actually see there that I did get a bit of a roll on with that meatloaf, and it's beautifully cooked. And yeah, it looks really delicious actually. It smells great. And then this is the sauce that you just pour a little bit over. And I'm just going to pop a little bit because this is tomorrow night's dinner, but I'm super pleased with that. And as I said, you can pop in the simmering basket and add those bite-sized veggies, 400 grams of them, and just cook them at the same time as you're cooking the meatloaf. So whether that be some potatoes or kumara, pumpkin, any greens, you can go for gold. So it really is like another layered meal. So yeah, looks delicious. Shame I've already had
It looks better than my aunties, that's for sure. Looks much
It does look
nicer
better than
than
your
that.
auntie's, Lee. I think you'll have to try this one.
Yeah, the old hockey pucks that she used to serve to us. Yeah, yeah, it looks much nicer. Top job, Jess. Amazing.
Easy. Yeah, and I've cleaned the whole kitchen in that time as well. You know, like it's easy. Great.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah. So good. And I guess you could use other meats as well. If you didn't have beef mince, you could use pork or a chicken or
Yeah, definitely, or lamb. I would probably adjust with when you're using sort of the fattier meats like lamb, especially probably adding try and get like a really a cut that's not very fatty. Otherwise, I think it would probably be quite hard to keep it together. The beef does work quite well like that, so you might just need a bit more binding.
Yeah, love it.
Super tasty.
Top job. How are you doing over there, Kathy? You still steaming away your chocolate puds?
Yeah, so a few more minutes, but not very long. It's what they do is they actually rise. So they're just starting to like peek out the top of the pots. I don't know if I can show you. Let's see if I can bring you in. You can just see this just starting to peek out the top. So I folded the chocolate into the
nice.
lovely, luscious egg mixture as it whipped up. And then I folded the chocolate through and then popped them into the little ramekins. And yeah, so when I tried it, they puff all the way up and then it says to let them sit for 5 minutes. And then in that time, it sinks back down into the little pots just so you got enough room for the cream to go on the top. Yeah, so it's quite good. So yeah, there's only a couple of minutes and then they'll be ready to come on out. But I've actually got a couple
Fantastic.
of things. So
We'll
see
get
about
Kathy to
see about my spatula, it's my fave. I absolutely go for that one. And the other one is the vacuum seal, which is just amazing. So I got this when I was on sale for a good deal with it. So it's a glass jar or a container with the plastic lid that has the vacuum seal wand that you pop in the top and it sucks all the air out. So we pop all our fruit and veggies that we've opened just into here and it keeps them so fresh and so crunchy for so much longer than if they were just sitting in the drawer in the fridge. They would just go rubbery and yuck and it just keeps them so much fresher for longer. So we use it all the time and it's, yeah, I love it. It's one of my faves.
Yeah, I love them too. And word on the street is they're coming in a variety of new sizes too. So keep an eye out for those.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the other tip that I noticed
you don't hear from me though.
with Jess with her little cups, which I have too, I actually use these in my kids' lunch boxes as dividers as well. So often, like if I'm having like wet food or dry food, like fruit, and then I've got like some crunchy things, I use them as little dividers in the lunch box, which is another good one to do. So you can keep things, you know, a little bit separate if you don't like things touching, because my children do not. So it just helps with that as well, which is quite handy. Yeah.
Oh, great tip. Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. You guys are so full of tips. I love it. I love this learning time together. Cool. Top job. I think we're back to Cynthia on it, and then we're just about done. Just whiz on back.
G'day. So welcome back. The dough has just finished kneading and it's done an amazing job. I don't know if you saw my machine, but it was moving around quite a bit on the glider board. But happy days, the glider board is a gift with purchase at the moment. So you when you get your machine, you get one of those with your machine. So that's a really great gift. So I'm just going to get this dough out. So you just twist the knob at the top, it just releases it there, and then just really carefully getting the dough out from there. And if there's dough left on your blades like there is there, all you need to do is chuck it back in your machine, pop it back in here. You can grab out of the thing and pop it on turbo, and then just give it a whiz for a couple of seconds. And you can hear the dough hitting the sides of the machine, and then just click on your book. It takes you straight back to your recipe. And then I just grab a bit of dough off it, and you can get the stuff that's stuck on the sides. So that is a really handy way to not have any waste from your thing. So you can see there it's pretty clean. There's not much left there. And I'm just going to shape this into some sort of little form that looks a little bit neater, and get the stuff off my hands. So that's just going to pop in there, and I'm just going to get my other bowl, and we've got some water in there. I'm actually going to skip the wash and just put the water in for the recipe, and I've already got some hot water in there which I've been heating up, so that will wade out. And we're just going to add some lemon juice, so 30 grams of lemon juice into there. And that just stops the staining on the bowl and things from the long cooking. Right, close enough. And pop our Varoma in there with our bread. And then fermentation mode for 2 hours at 55 degrees. So it's just going to keep it nice and warm, keep the humidity up, and let it rise to a nice level. And then once it's done that, we're just going to knock it down a little bit, pop it in here and leave it to rise again. It's going to be like night for me tonight, isn't it? And then eventually we will have a loaf like this. And my knife, my trusty knife, is just going to cut a slice to show you what it looks like inside. There you go. So a beautiful loaf, and it toasts up beautifully. It's great with poached eggs and that sort of thing, or as sandwiches or toasted sandwiches, anything really. Goes really lovely.
Yeah, good job. And I love that you're showing how you can use that fermentation in the Varoma for that colder weather. It's
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Don't know that anyone's used it for that purpose before, so it's a great way to showcase the Varoma. So top job, well done, Cynthia. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very cool. If you don't have a Thermomix in your kitchen yet, or if you noticed in my background, which way are we going? This way here, I have got this sparkling black Thermomix up on the screen. This has just been released at 3 o'clock this afternoon, so hot off the press. If you already have a Thermomix and you are considering maybe a second one in your kitchen, then this is a great offer for you as well. So I'm just going to bring up a little flyer here. So as Cynthia mentioned, we have got the opportunity to get these machines. So $2,699 to get either the classic white or the sparkling black, which is limited edition and only while stocks last, and you will get with it either the white or the black gliding board. So the black sparkling machine comes with the black gliding board, and the white comes with the white gliding board, so especially great for looking after your scales. And you also get a $140 mix shop voucher to spend. So if you've had your eye on some of those things that we've shown you tonight, some things are Thermomix specific and other things are just great accessories for cooking and making life a little bit easier in the kitchen. You could go a little bit of a shop at the same time. So reach out to your consultant, have a chat to them around the various payment options, and you can also come and earn the white machine as well with 6 sales. So have a chat with them about what's involved. Jump on the biz info session and just see if it might be something for you to do as well. So I know a lot of the team here have earned the sparkling black, so they're very excited and waiting for those deliveries to come out. You'll probably see them on the social soon. Yeah, we've got a few hands up. So it's a very exciting time. So yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal machine. It's very, very gorgeous. I don't know, you can't see it so well here, but the detailing is rose gold as well. So the button, the Vorwerk sign, and then the handle at the top, and the back casing is all rose gold. So beautiful champagne and that sparkly black. So absolutely beautiful. I'm going to bring all the team up on the screen. They can share their final recipes. We'll snap a pic.
Look at that.
Oh yes, Kathy, let's make you big. Let's get rid of me and you can show your
Look
beautiful.
at that. I've just popped some cream on. It's not actually too hot to touch anymore. And just a little sprinkle of, where am I going this way? Of cocoa powder on top. And the cream's obviously melting a little bit because it's a bit hot, but delicious. And it is so chocolatey and so yummy. So they look delightful and they're not going to last, I can tell you that.
I love that you've used the yogurt jars too. Like,
I know.
nice.
I was like, what am I going to use? And I was like, oh, I have those. They're so cute. And you don't feel like you're having a big something because it's so chocolatey that when you just have a little one, you feel good. Because you're like, oh, it's just a little bit of pudding. So I can have a second one and it's not so bad. You know?
One's not as bad as one big one, hey?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very little.
No judgment. You eat as many puddings as you want. Love it. Top job. Right, I'm going to bring up Jess and Gemma and Cynthia. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here with us. We hope that you leave feeling inspired to try something new. Give it a go. If you do, send your consultant some pictures, send us an email or a message. We would love to see what you've been making. And if there's anything that you want to know, reach out to your consultant and have a cooking demo with them, because we are here to help you get the most from your machine as well. We look forward to seeing you at our next virtual class or one in person. So I think I've got all the team there. That was also Helen's inspired. She said lots of baking for her to try. Yeah, fantastic, Helen, get in there. Looking forward to seeing what you make. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Enjoy your night. I'm just going to snap a quick photo while they're all holding their hot dishes and trays. Yeah, awesome. Top job, team. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Nighty pops.